This video is important for you, for me, and for every Canadian who pays taxes. You are about to see questions that many Canadians are already asking. Where is our money going, and what are we actually getting back? In this video, you will hear tough questions about a government report that costs millions of dollars, international travel paid by taxpayers, and whether a government office is adding real value or just more bureaucracy. You will see how officials explain their work, and you can decide for yourself how this affects government spending, accountability, and daily life in Canada.
How does your office add any value? Is it just another bureaucratic office?
Certainly your office doesn't work for free.
A straightforward but serious issue is raised, and you will hear questions about a government office has a budget of $4 to $5 million, and one of its main responsibilities is to produce an annual report. The concern is that the report has many photos of conferences, meetings, and events, but it is not clear how much measurable value it provides to taxpayers. The main question asked is, how do taxpayers measure the value of a report that looks more like a scrapbook than a performance document? It will show you the beginning of a debate where an official is challenged to explain the report's value. You will see the tension between what taxpayers expect, clear results, and accountability, and how government officials describe their work. How can Canadians know that this money is being used effectively, and whether the report really helps government decisions or just shows nice pictures? Listen closely, because this part will set the stage for the rest of the video, highlighting the challenge of justifying millions of dollars in public spending, and why transparency is important for everyday life in Canada.
I have a copy of the annual report. There seems to be a lot of photos of conferences being attended and a lot of photos, not a lot of content. I mean, see one of the pages here, it's all just images. So what is the measurable value of this report for taxpayers? I mean, there's a $4 to $5 million budget set aside, and one of the key parts of your mandate is to prepare this report. So how do we measure the value of this report? That seems like a scrapbook with.
Is it really possible that a taxpayer-funded report full of photos and illustrations still provides real value? This matters for every Canadian because this report costs millions of dollars and you pay for it. Canadians want to know if their money is being used for something useful or just to make pretty pages. Next, you will hear the official defends the report, saying it has a lot of content behind the photos. She explains that photos and illustrations do not take away from the value and suggests that other people who use the report can decide how useful it is. This part is important because it shows how government officials try to justify millions spent, and it makes you think, is this really worth the tax dollars? Key points need to understand. Saying, others can judge does not remove responsibility from the office. Government reports should show concrete achievements and benefits. Taxpayers expect real results, not just visuals. This part shows the challenge of proving value when millions of dollars are spent from taxpayers' pockets.
Due respect, the report has a lot of content. The fact that we have illustrations and it doesn't take away from its value and its content. And it's, I don't know if you're expecting me to judge my own report. Perhaps you could ask others, how they're using it and whether it's valuable to them.
What would happen if this government office stopped doing its work? Would it affect the lives of everyday Canadians? This is important for every Canadian because government offices handle tasks that can impact health, safety, and public well-being. If the work done by this office is crucial, you need to know how it protects people and prevents problems before they happen. Next, you will hear the official explains how their work helps manage risks like epidemics. She uses the example of the H5N1 report, showing how science and evidence help government decisions to protect Canadians. This part will make you think about how important it is to have experts working behind the scenes and why taxpayers' money may be spending on something that helps everyone. You need to watch till end to understand how this office contributes to public safety and how it could impact daily life if it didn't exist. Key points need to understand. This office provides important science and data to manage risks like diseases and epidemics. If the work stopped, government decisions could lack crucial information, affecting everyday Canadians. This part shows the real-life impact of government work that is not always visible to the public.
If your office stopped doing the work that it did, what exactly would stop working in the government? How would that affect the lives of everyday Canadians?
I'm going to give you a couple of examples, okay? So I gave the example of H5N1, the report here that we've provided on the science and the evidence that we need so that we can manage and prevent actually an epidemic.
Is it good or bad that this office needs to coordinate 10 departments instead of letting Health Canada do everything? This matters for every Canadian, because how government departments work together can impact public health and safety. If they don't coordinate, important information could be missed. In next part, the official explains how she brought together 10 departments, some working alone, to make sure nothing is missed. She says Health Canada can't cover everything, so this office helps coordinate and make decisions more effective. Watch next to decide. Is this good or bad for Canadians? Key points need to understand. Coordination ensures no department is working in isolation. Health Canada doesn't handle everything, so this office fills the gap. Better coordination can prevent mistakes and save taxpayers' money. This shows the hidden work that impacts everyday life.
So to do this, I brought together 10 different departments. Some were doing things in isolation from others. Others didn't even, feel they needed to be part of this.
Report, on viruses and vaccines and all that. Does not fall under the purview of Health Canada? Why do we need a separate office to justify?
Well, no,
they're the ones doing the work. They're the scientists.
No, it doesn't,
doctors.
because Health Canada, their mandate is health.
Is it bad that this office may be duplicating work already done by other agencies like Health Canada, CFA, and Environment Canada? This matters for every Canadian because taxpayers' money could be wasted if multiple agencies are doing the same work. You want to know if your tax dollars are being used effectively or if they are just supporting another bureaucratic office. In next part, the official lists all the agencies involved in H5N1, including Animal Health, Agriculture, and Parks Canada. The question raised is whether this office adds any value or just duplicates existing work. This part is important because it makes you think. Is this office really needed, or is it just another layer of bureaucracy that costs millions of dollars? Key points need to understand. This office could be duplicating work already done by existing agencies. Taxpayers' money may not be used efficiently if multiple offices do the same job. Duplication can slow down decisions and add unnecessary complexity. This part highlights the importance of accountability and transparency in government spending.
When we're talking about H5N1, we're also talking about animal health. So we're talking about agriculture, about CFIA. We're talking about Environment Canada, about Parks Canada.
So you just listed out a dozen agencies. That was your response. And so it sounds like those agencies already exist to do the work. And that's probably the objectives of those agencies, just CFIA, Health Canada, and all that. So how does your office add any value? Is it just another bureaucratic office?
Is it bad that this office claims to add value by bringing in experts, even though taxpayers fund its work and millions are spent? This matters for every Canadian because you want to know if millions of dollars are being used effectively. If the office relies on free experts but still costs millions, is it really worth it? Or is it just another bureaucratic layer? In next part, the official talks about bringing hundreds of experts from academia and the private sector. The question is whether this really helps taxpayers or if it's just to look good in reports. This part will make you think, is this office actually providing value or just wasting taxpayers' money? Key points need to understand. The office claims to add value, but millions of taxpayers' dollars are still spent. Relying on free experts doesn't prove the office is cost-effective. This office may be more about looking good than producing real results. Canadians need to question whether this is a good use of public funds.
We add a lot of value by bringing people together, actually by bringing a lot of experts from the outside. You may be very interested to know that people work for us for free. We've had hundreds of experts from academia and private sector.
Tanya, well, certainly your office doesn't work for free. I see, you were in a conference in Brazil in your annual reports. This happened recently. What exactly were you doing there? Who did you meet with?
There was the
Is it bad that this official spends time representing Canada at global forums like the G20 without clear results for taxpayers? This matters for every Canadian because taxpayers want to know if their money and time spent abroad actually produce real benefits. If these trips only involve meetings and photo ops, then millions of dollars could be wasted. In next part, the official talks about representing Canada at the G20 and other global forums. The question is whether these trips produce any real results or are just to show off. This part makes you think, is this office really helping Canadians, or is it just another bureaucratic expense? Key points need to understand. Taxpayers deserve to know if international representation brings real results. Spending time and money on global forums without clear benefit can be seen as wasteful. This highlights the need for transparency in how government officials use taxpayers' money. This part shows why Canadians should question whether this office is providing value.
It was the G20. I was representing the Minister of Science at the Science Ministerial for the G20.
And what did you accomplish there?
I represented Canada at a global forum that we are part of.
Is it bad that this official travels business class and takes photos even though taxpayers fund the trip? This matters for every Canadian because you want to know if your money is being used wisely. If trips are spending tax dollars on business class and photo ops without clear benefit, it can feel like wasteful government spending. In next part, the official responds to questions about travel expenses and photos. She claims that photos don't mean many people traveled with her and that she follows government directives. This part makes you think, is this necessary expense or just another example of taxpayers' money being used poorly? Key points need to understand. Taxpayers want to know if travel expenses are justified. Business class trips can seem excessive when funded by public money. Taxpayers expect real results, not just extravagance. This part highlights the importance of transparency and accountability in government spending.
So you flew business class, presumably with some of your staff, and took a bunch of photos. But what can you even? What
As a matter of fact,
other than meet?
Madam Chair, I just like to say that just because we have photo doesn't mean that we have 10 people traveling with us. As a matter of fact, on that particular trip, I had no staff with me.
Did you take business class on that trip too?
When I travel according to the directives of the government of Canada.
That's a wrap on today's video. We looked at how this office operates, from annual reports, coordination between departments, international trips, and taxpayers' money spent. You saw both sides, how it can add value, but also how it can seem wasteful or duplicative. For every Canadian, this video shows why it's important to question government offices, understand how tax dollars are used, and decide what makes sense for the country. If you want more breakdowns, latest Canada current affairs, immigration news, and permanent residency updates, make sure to subscribe to Canada Insight Network. Stay informed, stay curious, and thank you for watching.